Spring training expecting to get back. Now they came in expecting to win. The 1-2 again. Inside corner. The Royals, 2015 World Champions.
The Royals feel they have the pieces in place to make it 3 World Series and 2 World Series wins in a row. The Minnesota Twins would like to do something about that. They feel they've got some pieces in place to dethrone the Royals. Their first meeting of 2016 coming up in just a couple of minutes. And we welcome you to Kauffman Stadium. Dick and Bert with you for the opening game of this series. A year ago, the Twins got off to a terrible start in Detroit. And in Game 4 of the season, Tommy Milone stepped up and pitched the Twins to their first win. And the Twins are hoping that Ervin Santana can do that tonight.
Yeah, and he's coming off a short rest. Remember on opening day in Baltimore, the game started an hour and a half late. Santana did start that ball game. And then after 2 innings, the rains came again and Santana's day was done. Well, Santana coming back a little bit early, and that's a good thing. He is maybe the ace of the staff. You want him to come back. Now the numbers last year for Santana in 2 games against him, outstanding. Didn't get a decision in either of those games. A guy that pitched here in Kansas City in 2013 knows a lot about these Kansas City Royals.
It's been 10 years since the American League Central won a World Championship. The White Sox did it in 05. The Royals did it in 2015. And the Twins hope to catch and pass the Royals starting tonight. At the top, there are so many questions to how they got there, why they belong, and how long they will stay. The Twins don't need a map to find the top, just look up. They don't need a formula to find the numbers, just count. 1, 2, everyone is coming for you. The Royals are the chased, the coveted, the tail and the target. They've obtained it. Now the Twins try to take it. Here in Kansas City, the Royals, of course, have re-energized the fan base, having been to the World Series in back-to-back years. No team has gone 3 consecutive years in 20 years. But we are here in Kansas City, and the Twins will hope to start their comeback in their attempt to dethrone the Kansas City Royals.
We saw it in '87. We saw it in '91. What a world championship ball club can not only do to an organization, but the whole state. And that's what's happening here in Kansas City.
Fact remains the Twins finished second to the Royals in the American League Central. Their first meeting tonight will have this Menards batting order. Brian Dozier looking for his first hit will lead things off. Danny Santana gets left field tonight. Joe Mauer at first. Miguel Sano back in right field. Trevor Plouffe, Young Ho Park, Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, and Byron Buxton.
And on the mound here in game one, it'll be a youngster, 24 years old, Yordando Ventura, making, of course, his first start of the year. Starting his fourth season with the Royals, his third full season. A guy that had last year a night and day type of season. A poor first half, an outstanding second half, and he carried that right into postseason.
Northland Ford defense for the Royals, and of course they are the best fielding team in the American League. Alex Gordon re-signed. He's in left. Lorenzo Cain in center. Newcomer Raymond Fuentes in right field. Mustakas Escobar, Infante Hosmer the infielders, and Sal Perez behind the plate.
A little bit about Ventura, a hard throwing right-hander, very hard breaking ball too, and a very good changeup.
And you mentioned he had a better second half than first half, and a calmer second half. Had a very volatile first half. A lot of inflammatory situations developed with your Dono Ventura on the mound. Vic Carapazza behind the plate. DJ Rayburn, John Hirschbeck, and Bill Welke on the bases.
Yeah, he spent about 7 days on the suspended list that Major League Baseball put on him for an incident, and then also spent some time on a disabled list. Had a little problem with that right elbow, some nerve damage, and then they actually sent him down for a day only because Jason Vargas took a spot in a rotation, and then Jason Vargas ended up having a Tommy John surgery, and Ventura was called back up, and he took off from there.
Hitless in 11 at bats. Brian Dozier would like to take care of that business here in this first at bat tonight. Strike on the outside corner.
0 for 11, but we've seen Brian swing at a lot of pitches right off the get-go, and he took that one right there. Just maybe a little, try to calm down a little bit, look for that ball and drive it back up the middle.
Up and in. I think Tom Bernansky and Paul Molitor would like the entire batting order to do what you just said, calm down. The consensus is that this Twins lineup, the hitters, are trying to do too much, which is there's a ball driven to the gap in left center field. Dozier's first hit of the season, backhanded by Cain, and that will hold Dozier to a single. A fine play by the Kansas City center fielder.
Yeah, now we saw this in Baltimore when Escobar hit a ball just like that and rounded first base like he was going to go to second, make that outfielder attempt to make a good throw. Cain, yeah, he cut it off very nicely, but Dozier hustling out of the box, thought about two, make Cain do exactly what he did. Big turn right here. You're thinking two. Okay, he got the ball back in, hustle back to first.
And now Danny Santana. Sometimes the most important fielding plays in a game will never make a highlight reel. Plays like the one Cain just made keeps the double play in order, keeps a man out of scoring position.
Danny Santana was swinging a hot bat when spring training came to a close, and he didn't play the first 2 ball games. Picked up a couple hits in yesterday in right field. Now he's in left. I think right now Paul's trying to stay with a hot hand.
Paul Molitor telling me before the game today that of the 3 outfield positions, Santana feels the least comfortable in left field. But of course the Twins don't want Miguel Sano DHing too many games in a row, so that meant Sano was going to be back in right field, and Twins are very happy with how Byron Buxton's patrolled center field. Popped up down the left field line. Gordon chasing it, and it's in foul territory. No play. Still 0-2. As the manager says, it's nice to see Danny Santana with a smile on his face again. Of course, a year ago he was the starting shortstop, and he did not get off to a good start at the plate or in the field, and things just wound tighter and tighter internally for Santana, and he was never able to break out of it.
No, he put so much pressure on himself. 91 ball games, hit only .215, ended up getting sent down, and but if you go off of what he did a couple years ago, hit .319 in 101 ball games, relaxed, let the barrel of the bat do the work. And that was the pitch. That's the pitch that really he struggled with last year. That's breaking ball down and in. And Ventura picks up a strikeout. See the hard breaking ball right there. That ball, look where it bounces in front of the plate. Adam Jones had one of those swings in Baltimore.
Here's Mauer, hit a first inning home run last night. He is one of the few Twins hitters who's swinging it pretty good right now. Twins, as I think you know, scored 2 runs in each of the first 3 games, all losses in Baltimore. Outside, ball 1.
He hasn't quite figured out Ventura yet. Just 1 hit in 10 at bats for Joe.
I can promise you this. As the Royals line up again this year, it looks like the way they have in the past, Joe Mauer will not get an extra base hit to left or center in against the Royals. Gordon and Kane cover so much ground, and they're bunched together. There you see Kane, and there's Gordon, and the area in between is one of Joe's hot spots to drive the ball, but those 2 guys cover so much ground that there's no room for a ball to land out there.
Well, how many times have we seen Joe hit that ball down the left field line and Gordon right there making the catch?
Popped up, and Perez comes back for a look, but has no play. Twins scored just 6 runs and didn't get as many hits as they would like, and Mauer picked up a few of them to get off to a good start.
Yeah, in yesterday's ballgame in the first inning, Joe Mauer hit his first home run of the year, gave the Twins a 1-0 lead.
Almost hit another one with Nolan Reimold catching the ball right at the fence in left field. 1-2 to Mauer. Outside, 2-2. There was a time not that long ago that if you had a bad stop on a road trip and you were going to Kansas City, you could count on getting fat and getting well in a hurry. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Just a little bit low, and it's 3-2 with Sano on deck. Keep an eye on Dozier, see if he takes off here. Awfully good pitch.
Yes.
Perez very difficult to run on. Dozier goes, and the pitch fouled back.
Twins have 1 stolen base, and that was Danny Santana in yesterday's ball game. Last year, Brian Dozier, he's taking off here, and Joe swings and misses. Had 12 stolen bases last year in 16 attempts.
Perez wants a fastball away. Dozier goes, and the pitch fouled back again.
You know, Joe has hit so many balls down that left field line, and Gordon has made those great catches. You wonder in this situation, Joe, you almost look like he's trying to pull the ball right there. Just getting underneath it.
So there's no room down the left field line.
No.
Gordon has that covered, and the area between Gordon and Kane is covered. If he had a liner over the second base bag, he might have an inside the park home run. There's ball 4. A breaking ball in the dirt. Dozier took off again, and the Twins have 2 men aboard for Sano.
Well, Ventura had a tough time at the beginning of the year. Again, he had some elbow issues that put him on a disabled list, but his first 17 starts, you can see his record is high earned run average. And then his last 11 starts, 7-1, and look at the earned run average. You cut it in half.
pitched against the Twins at Target Field on the last Saturday of the season, and as it turned out, that was the elimination game for the Twins. Here is Sano. Dave Island, the pitching coach. Backhanded by Perez, ball one. While the weather disjointed the Twins series in Baltimore with 3 interruptions over the 3 games, the schedule disjointed Kansas City's opening week. 1-0. Purely by coincidence, the Royals were supposed to open up with the Mets, a World Series rematch, something that had never happened. And it was supposed to be a Monday and Wednesday 2-game series, but then because of national TV, it was moved up to Sunday and Tuesday. So the Royals come into this game with back-to-back off days. Sano takes a breaking ball and strike 2.
He missed with the fastball, came back with a changeup, and then right there the good breaking ball.
Sano, like so many of the Twins hitters, been very vulnerable to a high fastball. Half swing on a breaking ball, and it's strike 3. Sano begs to differ, but it doesn't matter. 2 down.
Yeah, Ventura picking up his second strikeout. He averages about 8 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. He's picked up 2 early ones here in the first inning. Good tight rotation. It makes Sano.
I don't know. Sano might have a point there. I don't know that he committed. That'll leave this first inning threat in the hands of Trevor Plouffe. Swing and a miss.
Good change up there. Yeah, good change up.
Foul back, 2 strikes.
That was right toward the radio booth that Dan Gladden had his glove on. Was it here last year that he?
Yeah.
It was Corey, I believe, that had ducked under the table.
2 strikes to Plouffe with 2 men on and 2 men out. Checked his swing. They'll appeal. No. And I'm not sure Plouffe committed any farther than Sano did on his strike 3.
No, it's good that the umpire asked at first base. DJ Rayburn at first base, saying that he did not go too far.
Now high and tight, 2-2.
Early in the ball game, but as a pitcher, you want something to happen here because on 3-2, both runners will be taking off. So Trevor will get a pitch he can handle here.
Hooked and foul, and this will be pitch number 25 of the first inning. With Byung-Ho Park on deck. Ends with a single and a walk in this inning. Now 3-2, and the runners will take off. Full count to Plouffe. And fouled back. Playing Pepper with the Twins radio booth. That one was just a little bit on this side. The other one was over by Terry Ryan's booth on the other side of the Twins radio booth.
Yeah, a lot of pitches thrown by Ventura here in the first inning.
8th pitch of this at bat coming. Tapper left side. Escobar fires on the run, and the inning is over. The Twins threaten to leave 2 aboard, no score after a half. Irvin Santana will pitch to the Royals when we come back. Kansas City fans. That's not the case anymore. The Menards batting order for the Kansas City Royals, the world champion. Kansas City Royals, Alcides Escobar leading off. Mike Moustakas. And again, these numbers just through 2 games. The Royals split a 2-game series with the Mets. Kane, Hosmer, Morales, Gordon, Perez, Infante, and Fuentes.
And Irvin Santana making his 2nd start. He threw 39 pitches in 2 shutout innings on opening day in Baltimore. And then the rains came. Twins ended up losing that ball game 3-2. But just making his 17th career start against the Royals.
Strike over the inside corner. He made 32 starts for the Royals in 2013.
He pitched well. He was 9-10, but a very good 3.24 ERA in those 32 starts.
Popped up short right. And Dozier just barely in the outfield grass, squeezes it 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Danny Santana in left, Byron Buxton in center, Miguel Sano in right. Bloof and Escobar left side of the infield, Dozier, Mauer on the right side. John Ryan Murphy caught last night. Kurt Suzuki does the catching tonight. And Mike Moustakas comes to the plate.
You know, Dick, it'll be interesting to see on pop-ups. You saw Dozier kind of have to drift toward the first baseline on that pop-up, but the wind is blowing in from left field, more toward right.
On the ground now to Dozier, knocks it down, picks it up, fires wide. And Dozier made the recovery after not fielding it cleanly, but will be charged with a throwing error.
They may have forgot who was running right there. Moustakas not the quickest from home to first. Had a little more time than I think if he had to do it all over again, he would have set himself up. He did drop the ball right there, picked it up. You can see him hurry his throw.
Looked like he threw to the wrong gray jersey, like he looked up and saw Santana and threw it to him instead of Mauer.
Well, first error of the year for the Twins goes to Brian Dozier.
And now Lorenzo Cain.
Cain had another breakthrough year last year, hit .307. That was a career high in 140 games. Also career high 16 home runs and drove in 72 runs. He's kind of one of the guys that's kind of the heart and soul of this world championship team.
On the outside corner, I hope that the Kansas City players would take this as a compliment, because it's exactly how I intend it. Here's Kane, and he had a very good year last year, hitting third in the Kansas City lineup, having driven in 72 runs last year. If ever there was a world championship team where the sum was greater than the individual parts, it was the Kansas City Royals last year. Individually modest numbers, but things meshed.
Yes.
And they complemented each other so well, both in the batting order and in the field. Now up and in, and it's 3-1 to Kane.
Yeah, they gelled together. I'm going to use the word gel together as a team. There was definitely a team championship here in Kansas City.
3-1 to Kane with Hosmer on deck. Fouled away, now 3-2.
Again, Santana, a teammate of a lot of these guys in a lineup back in 2013, so they know each other. They know what Santana might try to throw right here.
Got him with a breaking ball that bent over the inside corner.
Throws it. You know, not a lot of curveballs thrown by Santana, but he took something off. He's got a nasty slider. This is a little slower pitch, more the curveball, more the slider.
Ooh. Box Tracks had it well out of the strike zone.
Good frame job by Suzuki.
Here is Hosmer. Down and away, ball one.
Hosmer last year in a solid year. 297 in 158 games played, 18 home runs. He drove in a career high 93. See, a lot of these guys had career years as far as driving in runs and knocking the ball out of the ballpark. It's not the 30-40 home runs, it's
right.
just a consistency of it and the timing.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. And over the last 2 years in the postseason, the Royals were the best I've ever seen at responding when the other team scored in playoff games, with a crooked number in many cases. It was almost predictable.
And that's what winning teams do. You're down a run or two late in a ball game, that you come into the dugout and say, this is our game. It's a nice attitude to have. We had that in '79 with the Pirates. If we were down a couple runs, we won. Same thing can be said in '87. I'm sure the same thing happened in '91 with the Twins.
2-2 to Hosmer. 15th pitch of the inning for Santana. Dozier gets another try, and that ends the inning. Santana does a nice job pitching around the Dozier error. No score after one. If you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Twins wherever you go.
Nice guest came in to the booth.
Yeah.
Rick Sutcliffe.
You know a lot of people.
Well, a former roommate of mine with the Cleveland Indians. He lives right outside this area here in Kansas.
See, now you need to inform our viewers, many of whom can't imagine that in Major League Baseball, not that long ago, major leaguers roomed together.
They had roommates, yep.
Young Ho Park takes low ball 1.
Yeah, my first roommate actually when I got called up was Rich Reese.
Now be careful, Rich.
Yeah, I know.
Might be watching.
And he's a good roommate. And then my next one was Jim Perry.
Here's a high fly to center field, and Kane goes back, still going back, and makes the catch on the warning track. Pretty well hit ball. Park making a bid for a home run. 1 down. Let's find Marnie Gellner.
Hoping to get their offense rolling in this series against Kansas City. Last series against Baltimore, Twins hitters struck out 35 times, which is 3rd most in the American League. It's our Coors Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. Hitting coach Tom Bernansky said he saw a lot of anxiousness in the hitters, a lot of guys chasing out of the zone. He said now that the first series is over, anxiety is gone. We can settle in a little more, get a routine, get a flow going. And Dick and Bert, Bruno also said he feels great about what Twins hitters did all throughout spring training. It's just a matter of getting back to that.
And they will. And they will. Thank you, Marty.
The guy who's had the best approach so far this year might be the guy in the box right now, Eduardo Escobar. 4 doubles, 5 hits. And a strike called. 1 and 2. Up and away, and by approach I mean Escobar seems to be quite willing to hit the ball where it is pitched. If it's in the inner half of the plate, he tends to pull it. If it's out over the plate, he hits it hard to the opposite field. And outside 3 and 2. And consequently the Royals have to play him pretty straight up, both in the infield and the outfield. And protecting the plate, keeping the at bat alive.
Boy, that's nice when you can do that too. You know, you foul off a nasty pitch, and hopefully Ventura will make a mistake here. That was a good fastball down and away.
And that's what Tom Bernansky wants to see from the hitters. A little better, a lot better 2-strike approach. And another foul ball.
And what it does, it gets that pitch count up too for Ventura, who had 27 pitches in that first inning.
So I was interested to read Buck Showalter's comments after Matt Wieters' game-winning hit on Monday in Baltimore. Now, Wieters is a veteran guy, all-star catcher. Another 3-2 to Escobar. And Wieters jumped on the first pitch. Escobar takes a 1-out walk. Kevin Jepson threw a very hittable pitch, but Buck Showalter said that it was the 2 lengthy at-bats that Wieters had earlier in the ball game that set Wieters up to feel good at the plate, to see the ball well, and to do something once he got a hittable pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Twins, I think in that series were trying to really bust Wieters in, and that ball was just left out over the plate, and he got the game-winning hit.
Second walk issued by Ventura, and now Suzuki will bat, looking for his first hit. 6 at bats. He drove in a run with a fly ball Monday night in Baltimore. Down the middle, of strike.
I think last year we talked about Ventura's second half. I think it was kind of a growing up year for him too. A lot of things happened that he felt that, you know, he was a little bit on the, I'm going to use the word cocky side. The first part of the year, things weren't going his way, and he went down, and I think some of the other, I'm sure Dave Island and some of the other pitchers sat down with him.
Suzuki drives one to left field. Gordon going back into the wind. That ball is off the base of the wall. Escobar to third. He's being waved around. And Alcides Escobar's throw is cut off by Hosmer. And now Suzuki is tagged out. The run scoring on the double off the base of the fence and left, and that ball, if not for the wind, might have gone into the seats.
Yeah, for sure. He hit the heck out of that ball right there, but the wind blowing in from left field toward right held that up. But it did hit off the wall. That allowed Escobar, who was right around second base. He got close to second base once he saw that that ball got over Gordon's head. Not too many balls do. He scored from second base, and then Suzuki ended up getting thrown out at third.
Bases empty, a run in, 2 down for Byron Buxton. Buxton a couple of doubles and 10 at bats.
Yeah, that play, if you're keeping score at home, went 7-6-3-5.
Deep to left field. Buxton lifts one into the breeze. Gordon to the warning track and makes a sliding catch. Another ball that might have gone out if not for the wind, but Gordon tracks it down to end the inning. Twins hitting the ball hard against Ventura, and they have the game's first run.
Competitor. He's a laid-back guy off the field, and once he steps on that mound between the lines, he turns into a competitor. I've faced him for a long time now, and now to have him on our side, it's a great feeling to be his catcher now, because you hated facing him because he was such a competitor. He's a bulldog out there. He goes and he attacks. He just comes right at you, and whatever he has that day, he figures out a way to get the job done.
And now Santana's pitching with a 1-0 lead. Kendrys Morales takes strike 1. Morales a double and 7 at bats so far on the season.
What I like about Ervin Santana is the way he changes speeds. He works all 4 corners too.
1-1.
Works very quickly. You always have better defense behind you. If you get that ball, look for the sign and go ahead and let it go. Good off-speed pitch right there, just missing.
It'll be Morales, Gordon, and Perez in the second. Fly ball center field. Buxton chasing after it. And the wind knocks that down short of the warning track.
Basically what you do is just throw high fastballs and let them hit it toward left and center, and that ball's going to get eaten up.
The Budweiser Roof Deck is the ultimate Minnesota Twins outdoor experience. The roof deck is available for your group of 250 guests on both Independence and Labor Day weekends. Your clients and staff will love the sweeping views, amenities, and large fire might come in handy from time to time. Everything you need for mixing game time with social time. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups. Learn more about how your groups can experience the Budweiser Roof Deck. And now strike one to Alex Gordon. The baseball fan in me was thrilled that Alex Gordon re-signed with the Royals. It just seemed like the right thing to have happen. Now I'm not Joe Mauer. I am not hitting balls to the left field corner, or in the case of the top of this inning, Byron Buxton hooking one into the left field corner, only to see Gordon flash his Gold Glove defense out there. But Gordon suffered through some very difficult years, and here in Kansas City, and now at the pinnacle of the profession, a marriage that will continue. 1-2.
He did not get a Gold Glove last year, but the 4 prior years he did. 4 total Gold Gloves out in left field. The guy that came up as a third baseman.
1-2. And one of the reasons he didn't get the Gold Glove last year, he was hurt for a good part of the second half of the year. 2-2.
See the shift put on by the Twins
with 2 strikes. And Gordon strikes out, 2 down.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Changing speed so well. Santana picks up his second strikeout. Looking fastball right here. Just takes it a little off, a little movement. Gordon way out front. Great location with that pitch.
Here is Salvador Perez. Anthony's a strike.
Now, I mentioned Kane, one of those guys that's a leader. Here's another guy that has really stepped forward.
The right field corner, and Sano watches it drift back into the seats.
Yeah, you got to tell the story about going in batting practice.
Well,
what he did.
I think your assessment is too. These Kansas City players, Perez, Moustakas, Hosmer, they're just great young guys. They when they were losing, they were just friendly, good guys. Today, I wanted to offer belated congratulations to Perez, and he wanted to shake my hand, and he took his batting glove off because it was caked with pine tar to shake my hand. Now, who am I to Salvador Perez? But they're just a great group of young guys, and you know we're pretty parochial here. We're employees of the Twins, but boy, if the Twins can't win a World Series, it's kind of hard not to cheer for those guys. Man alive. Outside, 2-2.
Well, again, a lot of credit goes to Dayton Moore, the general manager here. You know that he his job was on the line for a while there because they weren't producing, but he stuck to his guns and brought in the right people, and it worked.
I asked Dayton today. I said asked whether the Royals had any presence in Korea or Japan. He says, well, we're getting there, but he said when he took the job, the Royals were dead last in terms of investment, financial and otherwise, in the Latin American countries. And his first year here was 2005. And so this group of Royals, Ventura and Perez and others, are the result of the Royals investing in the gold mine in terms of baseball talent that the Royals had neglected for more than a decade.
Yeah, Salvador Perez signed with the Royals in 2006 out of Venezuela.
2-2, and now inside 3-2.
Perez, the 2015 World Series MVP, too.
Full count to the Kansas City catcher. And a base hit to center. First Royal hit comes with 2 outs in the second.
Well, 3-2 fastball. And it kind of came right back into the swing of Perez, who hit it sharply up the middle. But it comes here with 2 outs in the second.
That'll bring up Omar Infante. Infante's been beset by injuries the last couple of years for the Royals. And so far so good. His elbow feels fine. His shoulder feels fine.
Yeah, I don't know, oblique strain that really bothered him in September, and he missed the entire postseason.
Royals had to go get Ben Zobrist because they knew that Infante was not completely healthy and wouldn't be until he took care of he had an elbow issue with he had some bone spurs removed in the offseason. That's hit over Plouffe's head down the line. Perez doesn't run well, and now Santana pins that ball in the corner, and that was a frightening play for the Twins a little bit because Santana's not used to playing over there, and the potential for a misplay that might have allowed Perez to score, but Santana was able to make the play, second and third, 2 down.
Yeah, Danny Santana does a good job right here. Watch him hustle over there. Plays the carom, keeps it in front of him, and then gets the ball back in, and Perez has to stop at third base. We have seen that ball sometimes hug that wall and get by that outfielder, and then it's off to the races. So back-to-back hits for the Royals put runners at second and third with 2 outs.
Last year it was Alex Rios in right field for the Royals. Now Raymond Fuentes. A drive to right. Down for a hit. Sano will come up firing. And it's 2-1 Kansas City. 3 straight. 2-out hits put the Royals in front. It's almost like it's the postseason for Kansas City. 2-out hitting.
Well, Fuentes new to the Royals. He played a little bit last year, came up in April, did not get an at-bat last year coming out of the San Diego Padre organization. Jumped on that first fastball, lined it in front of Sano. Sano does a good job showing off a good, accurate, strong arm, but with 2 outs, Infante off with a crack of the bat, scores from second base.
And now Escobar. His first hit as a member of the Royals, and it drives in 2 runs. Fuentes at first. Swing and a miss. Escobar hit a pop-up to Dozier in short right field.
Now keep an eye on Fuentes at first base. Good speed in the minor leagues. Over 200 stolen bases in the minor leagues. And they throw over.
It's just last inning we were talking about the Royals in the postseason and how they so quickly responded when the other team scored. So the Twins hit the ball about as hard as they have in 1 inning all year long so far. Park with the deep fly ball. Escobar with a single. Suzuki doubles off the wall. Buxton to the left field corner. They get 1 run out of that. And the Royals, first 2 guys are out, and then bing, 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 they got 2 runs. That has been Royals baseball the last couple of years. And now off the end of the bat, foul, 1-2. Mentioned that Santana pitched 1 year here with Kansas City, and they wanted to bring him back before last season. And the Twins outbid the Royals for Irvin Santana.
Yeah, 2014, he spent his year in Atlanta, won 14 ball games.
Royals instead got Edison Volquez to round out their rotation. One and 2 to Escobar.
I remember last year a lot of baseball people were questioning Ned Yost about why are you hitting Escobar as a leadoff hitter. And he tried to, move him down in the lineup, but he said this is where he likes to be. This guy loves to be the leadoff hitter.
Runner goes. Suzuki's throw right on the bag. A perfect throw. And Suzuki talking it over with Escobar. I think on his follow through, the batter and catcher collided. Good throw by Suzuki to end the inning. Twins will send the top of their lineup, starting with Brian Dozier, down a run in the 3rd. 5 hits drove in a run for the Padres, but a big hit driving in a pair of runs, putting the Royals in front. And now our carsoup.com trivia question: who was the last Royals starting pitcher to average more than 1 strikeout per inning pitched, or more than 9 per 9 innings than Ventura in 2015? Marty Patton, Larry Gura. Just start naming Kansas City starters.
Dennis Leonard.
Brian Dozier to lead things off. Lined a single to left center his first time up. You'd agree, wouldn't you? I mean, the Twins have hit Ventura pretty hard here.
Yes.
Park's ball might have. Twins don't come back here until mid-August. If Park hits that ball in August, it's a home run.
Well, Buxton's ball I thought was out.
Suzuki's ball.
Yeah.
So the best innings worth of at-bats for the Twins. And now Ventura pitching with the lead, falls behind Dozier 2-0. On the outside corner, 2-1. And over the inside corner. Dozier doesn't like the call.
Breaking ball inside. Ventura making just his 62nd major league start. 27 wins, 19 losses.
Ooh, that was more of a strike than the prior pitch. 3-2.
Tell you what, we've played 4 games now. These umpires, they have been very inconsistent.
And fastball, a strikeout.
After all that slow stuff, he rears back and throws a ball past Dozier, picking up his 3rd strikeout.
The Twins Flex Plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game. Don't plan, Flex Plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS. Here's Danny Santana, struck out swinging in the first. Bunting foul. Twins with 3 strikeouts so far in the game. Arnie showed you that there are actually a couple of teams out there that have struck out more than the Twins.
I like to see that. You know, I mean, 35 strikeouts, you would have thought, oh, that's the most. 2 other clubs. Toronto Blue Jays.
One and one. Hosmer with a nifty pickup of a 1-hop smash, 2 down.
A 3-time Gold Glove winner Hosmer makes it look easy.
Tonight's key stat brought to you by Toyota. And Joe Mauer, the one Twin, has continued to do awfully well here at Kauffman Stadium. Pretty much everybody in the lineup enjoyed coming here and playing. Twins for a while had a better winning percentage in Kansas City than they did in Minnesota.
Yeah, Joe over his career has enjoyed hitting here at Kauffman Stadium.
Drew a walk in the first inning. The Twins had a threat, left runners at first and second. Pretty much everything that has been hit right on the button, with the exception, I guess, of Plouffe's ground ball that ended the first inning. 1 strike. Hit right to Escobar. And a 1-2-3 third inning for Yordano Ventura. presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Alcides Escobar leading things off, taking a strike from Irvin Santana, and now Santana missing inside 1-1.
Yeah, what Irvin needs to do is have a quick inning like Ventura did. 11 pitches, a 1-2-3 inning for Ventura. 41 pitches for Santana.
Back to the glove of Santana. Away. And that'll bring up Mike Moustakas. Royals continue to play well here in Kauffman Stadium. 51 and 30 last year at the K.
Yeah, they kind of controlled the Twins last year, winning 12 of the 19 games played between these two ball clubs.
They kind of showed what they were made of in that final series. Here's Moustakas driving it to the left field corner. Santana won't care it there. And Moustakas digs for second. He's got a double. Talked with Moustakas before the game today. He never used to be able to do that. Drive the ball hard to the opposite field. He does here for a one-out double.
Well, you know what? When he first came up, I think he wanted to pull everything. And right there, just that little sinker away. Doesn't try to pull it. Just went with it right down that left field line.
As he was describing to me his transformation as a hitter, he used the phrase twice. He had to swallow his pride because he was, as you said, a pull hitter. Down and away, ball one. And he is a very effective opposite field hitter now. And teams have all but given up playing him with a pull shift on the infield because of it. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
And what happened is he made himself an all-star. He was an all-star last year for the first time. He had career highs in home runs, runs batted in, and he hit 284 last year in 147 games. Well, prior to that, I mean, he was hitting in the 220s.
Said I decided I didn't want to be a 212 hitter in the big leagues for my whole career. Fact of the matter is that those guys don't hang around very long. If you continue to hit 212, they'll find somebody else who can hit better. He said in spring
13.
He said in spring training in 2015 he hit everything to the opposite field. If the pitch in games now is on the inside part of the plate, he wouldn't swing at it. If it was middle away, he hit every ball, worked on it, tried to put every ball in play to the opposite field. And the end result at bats like this, you got to pitch away from him, and he hit it hard into the left field corner.
No matter what you do, if you want to be successful, you got to work at it.
1-2 to Kane.
Look at your trade.
And a strikeout for out number 2.
Good hard breaking ball. Santana picks up his third strikeout, getting Kane for the second time.
Bring up Hosmer. Hosmer with a ground ball to Dozier to end the first inning. Baltimore's rolling again, 6-1. They're leading Tampa Bay. And sadly, the biggest baseball news came late this afternoon. Many baseball fans saw the collision involving Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs, and there was some sense of relief that his ankle wasn't broken, but the problem is north of the ankle, complete tear of his ACL and MCL. He's done for the year. 2 ligaments in the knee. 1-0 to Hosmer. Fouled away. Crawford Health injury report involving Schwarber playing in left field, involved in a collision with Dexter Fowler in the gap in left center.
Boy, you hate to see that from a youngster like Schwarber. I mean, he's still going to have a great future, but to happen so early in the season and then to be lost for the season for the Cubs.
Half swing. And Hosmer committed, 1-2. Santana using his breaking ball effectively and getting some swings and misses, or in this case a check swing for a strike. And a nice block by Suzuki. 2-2.
They came back with the same pitch, but that time Hosmer stayed laid off of him.
And chop foul. Had to work a little bit more here in the third inning than he would like. You can see the pitch count over 50 now. Missing inside. Morales on deck.
And everything has been inside to Hosmer. The fastball's inside, the hard sliders down and in.
Santana and Suzuki will chat about this pitch.
Irvin Santana, this is his 315th start. Major league start, 126 wins, 105 losses.
Full count to Hosmer. Another off-speed pitch gets another swing and a miss. Moustakas left at second base. It's 2-1 Kansas City, but Miguel Sano will lead off the Twins forward. The best, if not the best, Twins hitter in the lineup. A drive to left. A home run. Miguel Sano doesn't have one yet. He struck out in the first inning. He'll lead off the fourth. Back in right field tonight. He'll be followed by Plouffe and Park. Even if you're big and strong, it's not easy to hit home runs in the big leagues, but try telling that to Trevor Story. He hit 2 for the Rockies at Coors Field. He's the first major leaguer ever to homer in his first 4 games, and he's got 6 already.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable story.
1-1. And now over the inside corner, and it's 1-2. Sano thought he was cheated in his first at bat. Didn't think that he had committed on a check swing. Vic Carapazza thought otherwise. Half swing. This time they appeal. No. And Sano was saying, hey, where was that appeal to the first base ump in the first inning?
Right. I think Carapazza, you know, he called it himself.
2-2 to Sano. Breaking ball got him.
That throws him right there. Ventura picks up his 4th strikeout, getting Sano for the 2nd time.
Check out some news and notes. Trevor Story in the middle with 2 more home runs. Again, the first major leaguer ever to hit a home run in his first 4 games. Jordan Zimmerman in his Tigers debut pitched effectively. Francisco Lindor, who's such a thing as a sophomore of the year. He may win it in the American League, even with Carlos Correa in the league. Can't remember. We saw more of Lindor than we saw of Correa. But when's the last time a league had 2 brilliant shortstops enter the league at the same time? Those 2 guys are going to be fun to watch. Not fun to play against, but fun to watch for a long time. 1 strike to Plouffe. 2 strikes. Five in a row sent down by Ventura now. Just off the outside corner.
Yeah, Ventura, when he releases that pitch, he almost has a little hop after releasing the pitch. Got a great arm.
Breaking ball lifted to short right. Infante out. Fuentes in. And Fuentes with the catch, 2 away.
Well, once you release the ball as a pitcher, you see guys have different follow throughs. Stays back nicely, and then see the right leg coming over the left. The pitch prior to that, he kind of left the earth on that fastball.
Here is Park. Hit a deep drive to center, and the wind helped keep it in the ballpark. And Keane grabbed it on the warning track up and in, ball 1.
Yeah, Park gave it a ride, but to the deepest part of the field, 410 feet straight away center here at Kauffman Stadium.
Outside, 2-0. Foul. Gene Glenn wants no part of it.
Don't blame him.
Two and 1. The Twins DH. Off the end of the bat, 2-2.
Change up right there.
In the dirt, 2-2. Big pop-up. It's coming back and out of play, but it won't land for a while. Full count with 2 down. And draws a walk, and Escobar will come to the plate with 2 down. Interesting situation in the Twins clubhouse today that involves Sano in part. A Korean reporter wanted to interview Miguel Sano. So the Korean reporter used J.D. Kim, the translator for Byung-ho Park, who then used Carlos Pont, the translator for the Hispanic players on the Twins, who then relayed the question to Miguel Sano.
So the one question lasted how long?
I was there for a couple minutes, and I believe I was there long enough to hear one question and one answer. It was the reporter to Kim, to Font, to Sano, and then in reverse. And therein lies the expanded universe in Major League Baseball.
I mean, did you tell him there was a 7:15 start to the game?
There's a strike, 1-1. Each team is required to have a Spanish-speaking translator now. We use Carlos in our interview with Eduardo Escobar. To his credit, Escobar has done those interviews independent of a translator all these years. He's been with the Twins, and we greatly admire that and appreciate that. But this is much better, I think, for everybody. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Trying to do what the Royals did, for heaven's sakes. It shouldn't be too much to ask to expect a clutch 2-out hit from time to time.
A little 2-out rally.
And Escobar flips it foul, as he did in the second inning. He kept alive his at bat with with 2 strikes with some foul balls, and ended up getting a base hit, or excuse me, a walk. High pop up behind second base. And Infante ends the inning. The Royals with a 2-1 lead after 3½. By a run.
Well, it was the Twins that scored first here in the top of the second inning, thanks to an RBI double by Kurt Suzuki. That scored Eduardo Escobar, who had walked, but the Royals came back in the bottom of the second inning after 2 outs, a base hit by Perez, and Fonte a double, put runners at first and second and third, and Fuentes with a big 2-run single.
Kendrys Morales will lead things off. The first pitch missing, ball 1. It will be Morales, Gordon, and Perez in the Kansas City 4. Tap to the right side, and Dozier from short right field has plenty of time to throw him out. One down. Before Gordon's at bat this week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Dick and Bert and Marnie with you from Kansas City. First of 3 here. Then the Twins head home for their home opener Monday afternoon. Chicago White Sox the opposition for the home opener in the first series. The White Sox playing good baseball. Losing today. Snap bat. Ooh, and the netting may have saved an injury. Mauer to Santana, but the story here is the extended netting above the dugout here in Kansas City. A splintered bat was heading into the seats. You can see that extra section right there. The bat hit the extended netting and potentially could have saved an injury.
Well, you know what's nice is it's hard to see the netting, but we're going to see this at Target Field, almost the same type of netting. And I'll tell you what, I was out there. I didn't notice it at first.
I didn't either.
And I looked up and I said, oh, this is exactly what we're doing at Target Field. And believe me, if you're sitting behind the dugouts right there, that flying bat that Gordon did right there, that could have hurt somebody.
I would guess the dugouts at Target Field are what, 10 feet closer to the field than here.
Right.
And therein, of course, means the seats are 10 feet closer. Popped up and out of play.
Now, I tip my hat to the Twins, to the Royals, to any ball club now that has such closeness for the fans, especially over the dugouts. Of course, behind home plate, it's all netted. But, you know, with iPhones and people looking somewhere else, not paying attention.
Fouled back.
I like it.
Well, the netting that was in place at Target Field was already in compliance with the new guidelines, but the Twins made the decision for safety reasons, for their fans, to take it an extra mile. Two strikes, and up and away.
I mean, those are great seats behind the dugouts, but a lot of times you'll see a family sitting there with some little kids there, and it's dangerous.
And now 2-2.
Brian Lefevre told me a story. He went to a ball game one time here and sat over the dugout with Frank White. And Frank White, I think he won 5 Gold Gloves in his career. He sat there for 2 innings, and Ryan said to Frank White, I'm out of here. This is too close. I don't have my glove.
Perez strikes out, and Santana enjoys his first 1-2-3 inning.
And Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, you bring your Circle Me sign, something like that. You may find yourself in Minnesota Lottery Winner Circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. Thank you for the sign. I see it's down the left field line. Very, very bright sign, and you were hereby circled, young lady.
Do you know the name Daniel Lucius Adams? Does that name do anything for you?
No, sir.
You owe a great deal of your livelihood to Daniel Lucius Adams. His nickname was Doc.
Doc Adams?
There are documents out there now with Suzuki standing in that prove that Daniel Lucius Adams invented the game of baseball and set the rules of baseball forward in 1857.
Wait a minute.
3 years before Alexander Cartwright was given credit for inventing the game of baseball.
I have to, in my mind, I remember I just turned 65.
Yes.
We voted on him in the Veterans Committee this year, and he did not get enough votes. But yes, I did a lot of research.
I hope his name is on the ballot again next year.
When you said Doc Adams, that something, that little pea brain of mine remembered that, but you're right.
Well, they've got documents like a condensed version of a rule book that document the game of baseball as it was formulated by this guy, Daniel Lucius Adams, in 1857.
Do you know back then it was the first team to score 21 runs, won the ball game, before Doc Adams said, no, we're going to play 9 innings. The bases are going to be 90 feet apart. You kind of put that into the rule. That's a strikeout right there of Suzuki, and it's the 5th strikeout for Ventura. Both starters have 5 strikeouts.
Buxton hit the ball pretty hard to the left field corner, but into the wind, and Gordon was able to make a sprawling catch in the corner. And strike 1. Well, since baseball is 3 years older than we thought it was, I suppose by extension those of us involved in the game are 3 years older than we thought we were. So that was your 68th birthday a few days ago.
Let me one other thing. He also came up with the shortstop.
Okay.
It used to be just 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and of course a catcher behind the pitcher, and then they had a rover, almost like in softball where you have that 10th player. And he came up where that rover could move into that shortstop position.
And Perez throws it into the baseline a little bit, but Buxton strikes out, the 6th Twins strikeout, 2 away here in the 5th. You know, this game is a little reminiscent so far of the game last night in Baltimore.
Good hard breaking ball. Perez does knock it down, and Buxton gets thrown out at first base.
Early in the game, it looked like the Twins were well on their way, hitting some balls hard, scored a couple of early runs, and then they got shut down in the middle innings and didn't score again, and that's kind of what's happened here tonight. Twins had a single and a walk, nothing too extraordinary there, but they had a threat in the first, hit 4 balls right on the button in the second, and haven't hit one solidly since. 2-0 to Dozier. So I guess then my follow-up question to you is, why did Doc Adams not get by the Veterans Committee in which you served? Why was he not in?
Well, I don't.
The guy invented the game.
I believe he got 10 of the needed 12. There were 16 of us on the panel, and I'm not allowed to say if I voted for him or not.
Oh, come on. Just in our viewing audience. Come on. Nobody will tell.
Okay, I voted for him.
Dozier takes a walk with 2 outs in the 5th. That'll bring up Danny Santana, a Carsoup.com trivia question. The last Royals starting pitcher to average more strikes per 9 innings pitched than Ventura.
Dennis Leonard.
David Cohn.
How about Zach Greinke?
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, Cohn and Greinke were both right-handed, still are, I'm sure. Here's Santana.
Dennis Leonard was a strikeout pitcher when he pitched here in the 70s and 80s. We didn't mention Paul Splittorff, though.
No.
No. Just want to throw Paul's name out there. Great man.
Chopper to short should end the inning. Head high hop for Escobar. That takes care of it. A couple more strikeouts in the 5th. And the Royals lead 2-1. Pepsi fans of the game, yeah, if you come down to Kansas City this time of the year, bring your Twins blankets. A cool night here. We're not going to complain about the weather, knowing full well that it snowed most of the day in the Twin Cities. And we ran into all sorts of rain in Baltimore. A little bit low on the first pitch to Omar Infante. Infante, Fuentes, and Escobar. Royals getting 3 2-out hits bunched together in the second to score their 2 runs, and now Santana back in the strike zone, 1-1.
Yeah, after the base hit by Perez in the second inning, it was Infante that hit the double that put runners at second and third.
Swing and a miss. Santana using his curveball very effectively to get swings and misses. Down and away, 2-2. I think you can tell nightfall, and Suzuki's got some nail polish on his fingernails to help Santana see the signs a little more clearly.
There are some ballparks that the shadows, it's very difficult to pick up the sign.
And
good
another
slider
down and away, and another strikeout for Santana.
And both starters now with 6 strikeouts. Ventura and Santana dealing here so far.
Bring up Fuentes, who teed off on the first fastball he saw and lined a 2-run single.
Well, you can see about 3/4 of the way down, all of a sudden that ball breaks. It looks like a fastball, then it just veers quickly left. Good tight breaking ball.
You saw Fox Tracks was presented by Jeep. And Suzuki with a nice play coming out of the catcher's box. Throws out Fuentes, 2 down.
Yeah, outstanding play by Suzuki. Of course, the catcher, you have to be ready in case of a bunt. And the bunt bunted just on the grass. Watch Kurt's reaction right there. Gets rid of the mask. And a quick flip over to Joe Mauer to get the speedy Fuentes at first.
It's been a good game behind the plate for Kurt tonight. He threw out a runner to wrap up the second inning. In fact, threw out Fuentes. 2 down, and here's Alcides Escobar. You know, we've got this Twins team that everyone anticipated would strike out a lot, and they have not disappointed so far this season. But the 6 strikeouts for Santana against the Kansas City team that has been the hardest team to strike out. They have been to the World Series the last 2 years.
Watch out.
That skips by Santana and into center field. Another 2-out hit for the Royals.
Yeah, right behind Santana in his follow through.
Baseball is back on FS1 as Adrian Gonzalez and the Dodgers battle Buster Posey and the Giants tomorrow. All on America's home for baseball all season long, FS1. Or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. We will be on an hour earlier tomorrow night here in Kansas City. A 6 o'clock broadcast start. Pregame at 5:30. First pitch about 6:15. Here's Moustakas, reached on a Dozier error and then cracked a double to left. Moustakas asks for time.
Yeah, remember we were talking about Moustakas. He jumped on that first pitch and hit it down that left field corner.
Popped up. A foul ball near the Twins dugout, and Plouffe has no play. One strike. The Moustakas double in the 3rd inning, his first hit of the season.
I'm laughing because one of the Twins players got that ball and was going to throw it in the stands and hit the net.
Well, that's, I'm sure, for ticket holders, that's been one of the concerns, just that detachment from the field of play, engaging players either through, first baseman come off the field after the end of an inning and flip a ball to the fans, which it's going to take a little more work to do that. But
well, I like the safety of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twins worried a little bit about Escobar at first base. 17 stolen bases last year for the Royals in 22 attempts. 145 in his career.
Inside. 1-1. Used to be, of course, when the Twins would come here to Kansas City, it was a 1-run ball game. Even if the Royals were leading by a run, the Twins had the Royals right where they wanted them, because the Kansas City bullpen was an awful assortment of relief pitchers that had a terrible time holding leads. And of course, just the opposite is true now. Up and away, 2-1. It's amazing, isn't it, from when you pitched, how managers and general managers have gone to great lengths to shorten the games.
Oh, yes.
Used to be, and Tony La Russa with Dennis Eckersley and his supporting relievers shortened the game to 8 innings.
It started, I think, with the Yankees with Rivera. I mean, they had Stanton, I believe, was a left-hander out of that bullpen, and was it
Jeff Nelson was, kind of a setup guy too.
Yeah, they had 2 or 3 guys at Wetland. That's the name, John Wetland. That's who I was thinking of.
Now Rivera was setting up Wetland for that first World Championship in Joe Torre's run. 2-2 to Moustakas.
Well, give me 5-6 good innings, we'll turn it over to a bullpen.
Soft toss over to first.
And a lot of things go into that. Of course, pitchers for some reason have that pitch count now. So, you're right around 100. Boom. After 5-6 innings, you're out of there. Ouch.
The busted bat, and Plouffe will have no play. He played the hop, feeling that he wasn't able to catch the ball on the fly. And it'll be an infield hit for Moustakas. Another 2-out hit for the Royals.
Yeah, not too many times Moustakas is going to get an infield hit. He got jammed right in the kitchen right there, but Trevor coming in, ball had a lot of spin on it.
Trevor didn't feel like he would be able to rush that ball, and maybe the infield variety of what we saw Miguel Sano not do in the outfield. You got 2 outs, don't make a mistake, and don't, even though that ball was kept in the infield, if Trevor dives for it, doesn't catch it, and it rolls by him, then Moustakas might have had the shortest double in Major League history. With the shift on, there was nobody else on the left side of the infield.
Well, that's why pitchers have to also realize what's going on. You got to be over there to third base, which Santana was going toward third.
Off the plate, 6 hits for the Royals. The Twins have just 2, but 6 hits for Kansas City. 5 of them have come after the second out.
And yeah, kind of bunched up too. Remember, they scored the 2 runs on 3 straight hits. Now they have 2 straight. So it's a big out right here for Irvin.
Swing and a foul. 1-1.
He struck out Kane both times.
Once looking, once swinging.
Remember, the one looking was that pitch probably down and in that wasn't a strike, and then he went down swinging in the 4th, 3rd inning on a good slider down and away.
Fastball zips inside but misses.
And you have to do that to Kane because he's kind of a diver. If you do not pitch him inside, he will reach out and hit that ball if it stays up the other way.
One. The fastball taken for strike 2.
Went back inside again. That's good pitching right there, repeating that pitch inside. Now, do you go back in again or you go to a breaking ball? Kane laid off of it. The breaking ball.
Hosmer, a formidable threat in the on-deck circle. Same situation the Twins had earlier in the ball game. Runners at first and second, 2 out in the full count, so the runners will take off here. And a big pitch with the Twins already down a run. Runners leave. Kane fouls it off a leg.
He went to the slider and Kane fouled it off.
See the pitch count there. Santana with 83 pitches thrown. And only 1-2-3 inning. That came in the 4th. Three and 2 to Kane. Not yet.
See what they try to do here. Do they go back to the slider or do they go fastball in? Suzuki creeping inside.
Called 3rd strike. And Santana reaching back for 94 miles per hour and zipping it over the inside corner. The manager was involved in the discussion too, and everybody's head was nodding up and down like there's going to be another inning for Irvin Santana. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often, but both starters, right there. Santana, 84 pitches. Ventura, 86 pitches.
Twins have just 2 hits, but they have taken tonight 4 walks, which is some encouragement. But still, there have been 6 strikeouts. Here's Mauer, then Sano and Plouffe. Strike 1 over the inside corner.
Strikeouts are part of the game now. A guy like Ventura, he's averaged 8 strikeouts per 9 inning in his young career. He's a strikeout pitcher, as Irvin Santana is.
Strike 2. I looked it up. Yogi Berra in 1950 finished 3rd in the MVP voting. Hit .320 something, 123 runs batted in. He had over 700 plate appearances and struck out 12 times. 12. In the dirt, and it's 1-2. Mauer walked and hit a ground ball to short. Twins have not had a hit since Suzuki's double off the fence in left center field back in the 2nd.
Well, both starters have pitched well.
And boy, even if you'd won 1 game in Baltimore, I think everyone's complexion on the start of this season would be different. But you've got to hang on to what you've done well, and the Twins have pitched fairly well so far this season. Can't tell much from Santana's first start. It was just 2 innings, and Kyle Gibson really didn't pitch all that well in his first start. But Phil Hughes was good last night for 6 innings. The bullpen had a couple of run-scoring innings, but the fact of the matter is that Twins have pitched fairly well. They just haven't hit enough. And there's Mauer taking a leadoff walk, the 5th walk issued by Ventura.
Well, you know what? I mean, your job as a starter is to keep your club in the game, and other than Santana with the 2 innings, Gibson and Hughes kept the club in the game. Twins lost both games 4-2.
And now Sano, who has struck out twice. A couple of singles for Sano in 12 at bats. Swing and a miss. 0-1. Twins middle of the lineup presenting plenty of power, and it's all right-handed power. Sano, Plouffe, and Park. Taken low, 1-1. Down and away, 2-1.
Action in the Royals bullpen. Luke Hochshaver up in the bullpen. Change up right there, 2-1. And Snow could not hold up. Both these pitchers built about the same too, about 175, 180 pounds. Both throw that ball about 94.
2-2.
Good change-ups, good breaking balls.
3-2. Remember, Mauer fell behind and ended up working out a full count walk. And now Sano might do the same thing with Plouffe on deck. Three and two to Sano. Ball 4. The 6th inning starts with a pair of walks, and that'll bring out Ned Yost.
Well, Ned Yost coming out with Luke Hochevar warming up, but a little pitch by pitch. The breaking ball that Sano swung through, then Ventura goes down and in for ball one. Missed down and away. Check swing right there by Sano. Even the count, and then 3-2 on that fastball. And then Wild, that's worst pitch he threw probably of the whole game. But Ventura out of the ball game.
And he'll be relieved by Luke Hochevar. Trevor Plouffe will hit here with 2 men on, nobody out, and Luke Hochevar coming out of the Kansas City bullpen.
Yeah, the hard throwing Luke Hochevar. He missed all of the 2014 season because of the Tommy John surgery. Last year appeared in 49 ball games, 49 strikeouts in 50 2/3 innings.
Plouffe with a bouncer to short, a fly ball to right. Not many secrets here. Plouffe's hit against Hochevar enough to have some idea what to expect. Hochevar, an erstwhile starter, now part of Kansas City's very good bullpen. Back in the day, with strike one delivered, it used to be that the Kansas City relief pitchers were relief pitchers by job title only. When it got to this point of the game, it was advantage Twins, advantage White Sox, advantage Detroit, anybody that they were playing. They had a terrible bullpen, and that's what makes this so ironic. The key to their success. Swing and a foul, and did that get Plouffe in the hand? Apparently not.
No. That would have been a great type of a deke if Plouffe could have just said, "Ow, it hit me." See if it hit the bat, the knob of the bat.
I think that's exactly what it hit. Two strikes to Plouffe. The Twins need something in play here to advance runners. A productive out, if in fact it's an out at all. 5 times Plouffe has struck out against Hochevar.
Hochevar's strikeout pitch is that hard curveball.
Plouffe lifts it to center, drifting toward the gap. Catch is made by Kane. Mauer will advance. So a productive out in that the tying run now is 90 feet away. Sano had to stay put at first base.
Yeah, it looked like just a fly ball to short center field, but with the wind blowing, it kind of drifted it a little bit further, where Kane had to kind of go back a little more, which gave him no opportunity. And that's why Joe Mauer at second saw that and advanced to third.
Hey, got 2 strikes on you, and this is a team that's been plagued by strikeouts. Plouffe put the ball in play, advanced the runner, and now Park in what so far is his biggest Twins at bat.
Yeah, looking for his first run batted in. Good opportunity right here for Byung-ho Park.
Outside, ball 1. He walked his last time up.
Again, Park's going through all this stuff that a rookie would go through. You haven't faced these guys before. You can only look on paper and say, yeah, he has all 4 pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. You won't throw too many changeups out of that bullpen.
Pop foul. It'll reach the seats 1-1.
But there was a curveball right there that was left up, but Park got underneath it. I think the first go around, maybe the second go around, is going to be tough on Park to learn the pitchers.
1-1. Breaking ball over the inside corner.
There's a curveball.
And now Park will try to do what Plouffe did with 2 strikes, have a productive at bat, even if he makes an out.
Well, you see Park's reaction right there. Perez wanting him to shake off.
Now he'll go to the mound. Park has put the ball in play once, hit the deep fly ball to the warning track in center field.
Now, by the reaction of Park, because he kind of buckled a little bit on that curveball, as a pitcher you'll see that. Yeah, he might try to come back with it. Maybe that's what they're discussing right here.
What's the third baseman doing in on this conversation?
Just making sure that everybody's okay. Watch a little buckle right there.
One and 2 to Park. He's trying to at least get things tied up here in the 6th, thanks to a pair of walks to start the inning. Strong swung through the curveball for out number 2.
Came back with a curveball that started a little bit lower and tighter. And Hochevar picking up a big strikeout. That's a quicker curveball than the previous one.
And that will leave this threat to Escobar. Drew a walk in the 2nd, popped up to 2nd in the 4th.
Twins need a big hit right here.
Hitting with men in scoring position has been all but non-existent for the Twins in the first week of the year. And Escobar takes ball 1, and Perez smothers a pitch in the dirt.
Hochevar, 32 years old. He's in his 9th season with the Royals. Former #1 pick, #1 overall in the 2006 draft out of the University of Tennessee by the Royals. Well, high hopes for him as a starter, just didn't pan out.
Line drive
Get through
into center field, a base hit. Bauer scores, and Escobar delivers an awfully big hit to tie the game.
I really did right there. Just good contact, fastball. Lined it right back up the middle, picks up his 2nd RBI, and ties the game at 2 apiece. Quick bat right here by Escobar. Good contact. Right to the right of Infante into center field. Bauer scores a tying run, and Sano stops at 2nd base.
And now Suzuki, an RBI double in the 2nd. Tapper left side, and the short way to 2nd. Escobar retired by Escobar, but the Twins take advantage of a pair of walks and eventually tie the game. far, it's been a difference of walking. The Twins have taken 6 walks. 2 of those guys have scored. And Ervin Santana hasn't walked a man. He'll pitch through the middle of the Kansas City lineup here in the 6th.
Yeah, Santana starting his 6th inning. 84 pitches, 55 for strikes. He's faced 22 batters, 14 first pitch strikes.
Eric Hosmer takes low, ball 1. Kane, Hosmer, Morales, and Gordon are a combined 0 for 9 against Santana. The problem has been the bottom and top of the order. There's a 2-hopper to Mauer. He'll make the catch, go to the bag, 1 away. And that'll bring up Morales. Royals staffers wearing World Series rings. Very nice looking rings. The players, of course, got them as well. Morales got one. So both Buteras now will be able to wear World Series rings. I've seen the Kansas City ring, and it's quite a bit larger than the '87 Twins ring that Sal Butera still wears.
Well, nothing is. Remember, Mike Redmond had that.
The one the Marlins
had. My goodness, that's 2 of ours.
1-0. I think the Twins were the last team to have a modest ring, and every team before them in 1991, it was something that could be worn, that wasn't too cumbersome or gaudy. But then the Blue Jays won back-to-back world championships in '92 and '93, and I think they were the first team to really go over the top with their World Series rings. 2-1 to Morales. 3-1. Again, Santana hasn't walked anybody. And Gordon will hit next. Santana hasn't had many 3-ball counts. And he's just issued his first walk. Morales will lumber to first.
Well, let's go back to the bottom of the 5th inning with Lorenzo Cain up. Santana has to face him with a couple runners on 1st and 2nd. He went at Cain. Cain laid off that slider. And then he swung at a little cutter. Remember, he went back inside. That's why I wanted to show it again. And then he went in for the strike. Now, Cain has said he's a diver. He wants to dive. You can see him reaching out over the plate. He fouled off that pitch. And then on the 3-2 fastball, you could see what it did to Cain. Good quality pitching right there by Santana. Good sequence.
Gordon takes low, ball 1. Now the 6th inning is at least 1 inning too early, but Ned Yost has been very liberal in using the speed on his bench for players like Morales or even Perez. Drew Butera caught the final inning, the final out of the World Series, because Ned Yost had lifted his all-star catcher Perez for a pinch runner. Gerard Dyson, who'd been such a weapon for Ned Yost over the last couple of years, is on the disabled list with an oblique injury. And the Royals still have some speed on the bench.
They have Terrence Gore. He's quicker than Dyson.
Over, missing the inside corner, 2-1. Presley getting loose.
Santana probably looking at his last inning. Hopefully can put a 0 on the board here in the 6th.
Like to get a ground ball hit at somebody here. Smothered by Suzuki, and another 3-ball count, 3-1. Well, the control that plagued Ventura throughout his start tonight really surfaced early in the 6th inning with back-to-back walks. Now with 1 out, Santana has issued 1 walk already and is in danger of walking another man.
And being a former pitcher, Dick, as the weather is getting colder, it's tough to get a good grip on that baseball.
Back-to-back walks. He faced 22 batters without walking anybody, and now he's issued back-to-back walks. 1st and 2nd, 1 down for Salvador Perez. Perez singled with 2 outs in the second inning, and we didn't think much of it at the time. But then Infante doubled and Fuentes singled, and that's how the Royals got their 2 runs. All 3 hits coming after the second out.
Oh, this is where you need a double play ball right here. You need to find a way for Perez to beat it into the ground.
Missing inside. These outfielders all aware of Morales' lack of speed at second base. So in the event there's a hit to the outfield, might very well be a play at the plate. Santana's misfiring here in the 6th inning. A couple of 2-out hits in the 5th. Had the at bat against Kane where he got him looking at a fastball. Hosmer was out on the second pitch of the inning. Presley continues to warm up. Popped up weakly to the right side. Infield fly rule should be called. It's a foul ball. It doesn't matter. Mauer had to squeeze it, of course.
I think if Perez had to do it over again, he wouldn't swing at that pitch right there. That was a very good slider on a hitter's count. Perez kind of went out of the zone and popped it straight up for the second out. Remember, the count's 2-0. Perez getting underneath that, popping it up. Great pitch.
You can almost see Perez grimacing with his reaction before he completed the swing. He knew from the time he started the swing that it's not something that he should have offered at. No move yet made to the bullpen. Paul Molitor himself wanting to come out, have a little chat with his infielders and with Santana and Suzuki. Infante with the double in the second.
Yeah, get strike one. The last 5 batters that Santana's faced, he's fallen behind in the count. Infante with a double in the second, a strikeout in the 5th.
Swing and a miss. The breaking ball.
100 pitches for Santana. 60 strikes. Straight sliders. One that Infante swung through, that one low.
He's got a big 2-out hit from Escobar to tie the game in the top half of this inning. Now Santana trying to deny the Royals a 2-out hit. Kelvin Herrera warming up. He trying to get the 7th inning.
Santana blowing on his hand with that wind blowing. It just nice. That's why they made pine tar.
It's a foreign substance. It's not allowed on the mound.
Ensure that you get a grip on that baseball.
Fly ball short right center field. Sano coming in, makes the catch. And the Royals take 2 walks in the inning but can't get the 2-out hit. We're tied heading to inning number 7. Here the Twins with 2 runs again tonight so far.
And tell you what, in that second inning, the Twins hit some balls hard. They ended up scoring a run on Escobar, scoring with Suzuki's double, but in the bottom of the second, the Royals come back and score a couple. Thanks to Ramon Fuentes, a 2-run single. But the Twins just tied it at 1 apiece. It should be 2 apiece at the top of the 6th.
Kelvin Herrera will pitch next out of the Kansas City bullpen. This is a game that, similar to so many over the last couple of years, on paper very heavily in Kansas City's favor, because now it's a game matching up 2 bullpens, and Kansas City's always had the best in the league.
Herrera, 26 years old, in his 6th season with the Kansas City Royals, made the All-Star team last year, but who with the Royals did not. Good fastball in the low 90s, up mid 90s, hard curveball and a changeup.
A challenge for Buxton. We've yet to see him this year try to bunt his way aboard. Moustakas will start in on the grass. Santana bunted for a hit the other night, and Buxton takes 97 down the middle of strike. Buxton, Dozier, and Santana here in the Twins' 7th. The Royals don't feel, and they might be right, they don't feel Byron Buxton can pull Herrera. Kane, the center fielder, playing way over in the right center field gap. And a breaking ball.
It's a hard breaking ball by Herrera.
Hit the ball hard his first time up. Gordon grabbed his line drive, and Buxton struck out in the 5th. Down and in. 2-2. 98 miles per hour. And you hardly ever heard about him. Used to be Herrera, Davis, and Holland. Holland's gone now after blowing out his elbow last year. Breaking ball down the way, 3-2.
Herrera out of the Dominican Republic, signed by the Royals in 2006. Same year that Perez did, Salvador Perez, out of Venezuela.
Buxton strikes out at a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, went away.
He is blessed with a great arm.
Behind the bullpen wall out there, you might have seen Joaquin Soria. He's returned to the Royals. Brian Dozier, one gone in the 7th. Dozier singled sharply to center in the 1st, walked in the 5th. Foul back. 1 strike.
It's getting cold up here, partner.
Colder than Baltimore?
Yeah, right now it is. I didn't think Baltimore was all that cold. It's in the 50s, low 50s.
Supposed to be warmer tomorrow, and then Sunday afternoon, although there's a threat of rain, they're talking about maybe 80 degrees here on Sunday.
It says it's 53. It feels like 35. That wind, that's what it does. It doesn't.
And we suggested the other night on your birthday that it's okay now. You're 65. You can wear a shawl.
Well, if the temperature's at home, don't the way it's supposed to be.
Hey, I think it's going to be low 40s on opening day on Monday for a high. 2-1 to Dozier. Cracked down the line and fair right on the foul line. Dozier rounds first. He'll go to second with a 1-out double.
Well, the high fastball, of course, we all know Brian Dozier likes that fastball up, and boy, did he turn on this high fastball. Looked like it was about letter high. middle end. Brian, a hitter that stands right on top of the plate, he almost dares you to get it in there. And see how quick he turned and opened up on that. And hit right on that chalk line. And into that corner. Gordon has to get it and retrieve it and get it back in. And Dozier gets his second hit. His first double.
And now Santana 0 for 3 tonight. Strikeout and a couple of ground balls. Up, ball 1. Sliced foul, 1-1. Twins with just 4 hits, but they've taken 6 walks, and 2 of the hitters that have walked have scored. Now the Twins trying to get Dozier in from second with 1 out. Tapper right side. Dozier moves up a base. Santana retired, and that'll bring up Mauer.
Yeah, you look for that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, then he throws a 90-mile-an-hour changeup, and you get out front like Santana did for the ground out.
Mauer's walked a couple of times and hit a ground ball to short. This is interesting. Perez will come out and talk to Herrera, and we know Sano's on deck, but in this situation where Mauer's been so good over the years in getting hits, he's remained, despite his overall disappointing numbers last year, one of the better clutch hitters in the league last year. Depending on what happens with the count, you know where I'm leading with this. I mean, you pitch Mauer very carefully here because a single could mean the ball game.
Well, I looked it up too. Mauer, a .327 hitter and almost over 600 at bats against the Royals, so he has a track record of having some very good hits against the Royals over his career.
Sano has struck out twice and walked tonight. Outside, ball 1. I guess what we're saying is if Mauer doesn't get anything to hit or swing at, he won't swing at it, and he may end up drawing his 3rd walk of the ball game.
Yeah, they're going to try to pitch around him, which no pitcher really likes to try to do, but you see Perez sitting way outside. That's what I was talking about right there. You can see the most hits against the Royals as an active player, Victor Martinez. Only one has 1 more. Let's see if Joe can tie him right here.
And there's a strike on the outside corner.
He took a changeup right there.
A 91-mile-per-hour changeup?
Yeah. Tried to curveball, the breaking ball.
He's taken at least 1 walk in every inning but the 3rd.
This will be an interesting pitch here. I doubt if he's going to get a fastball. Another changeup.
Off the plate, and there's the walk to Mauer, his 3rd, the team's 7th. And Sano will have a chance with runners in the corners and 2 down. Sano went down swinging in the 1st, looking in the 4th, and then fell behind, but ended up drawing a walk in the 6th.
Be ready for that first fastball.
Up and in, ball 1. Took a 2-out hit in the 6th to tie it. And will probably take a 2-out hit here in the 7th for the Twins to take the lead. Breaking ball over for strike 2.
He went fastball, changeup, curveball.
1-2 to Miguel Sano. 98 miles per hour, but letter high. That's the pitch. Not that high, but the high fastball that's resulted in so many of these strikeouts for this Twins team. Got him with a breaking ball. 98 letter high, set up an 83 mile per hour knee buckler, and the Twins strand 2 in the 7th. Strikeouts for the Twins tonight.
Well, I saw really 3 pitches. I mean, fastball right there, inner half. Then the changeup that Sano one swung through, the curveball that Sano let go, and then a high fastball, and then the other curveball right there.
Fuentes will lead things off against Ryan Presley.
Yeah, Ryan making his 3rd relief appearance. A couple times he pitched in Baltimore. 3 innings so far, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk for Ryan.
Just missing the outside corner, ball 1. And now 2-0. Santana with 6 innings worked, a couple of earned runs allowed, a quality start after Phil Hughes gave the Twins a quality start last night. Pitched through a threat in the top of this inning. There's a strike, 2-1.
Ryan with a good fastball, outstanding curveball. He'll mix in a slider and a changeup.
Tap foul, 2-2. Breaking ball dribbled right side. Dozier has to charge. This guy runs fast. Ryan had a little problem getting the ball out of his glove for that little backhanded flip, but he got it there in time. 1 away. This week, only T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Down in the 7th, and now Alcides Escobar. Half swing, he'll appeal. Strike one. Escobar with a single his last time up, 1 for 3 on the night. Through the hole to left, Escobar has his second hit. It comes with 1 out here in the 7th.
Yeah, breaking ball stayed up right there, and Escobar shooting it through the infield.
And that'll bring up Moustakas. Moustakas has reached all 3 times. Reached on a Dozier error in the first. Drove a double to the left field corner in the third, and then broke his bat and dropped a little pop-up that landed in front of a shifted Trevor Plouffe for an infield hit in the 5th. Infield shortening up a little bit here, hoping for a double play grounder. Twins have been through the Baltimore series and again here tonight. They've been much more observant and paid more attention to runners on base back in the 2nd inning.
Well, Ryan has to utilize that slide step too. You can't get too high with Escobar. A couple throwovers.
Back in the 2nd inning, Santana threw over to first 3, maybe 4 times, keeping an eye on Fuentes, and then Fuentes took off and Suzuki threw him out. And down and away, ball 1. Fernando Abad warming up. Paul Molitor said before the game today he'd like to get Glenn Perkins into the game, obviously in a save situation, and if the game fell out of hand one way or the other, he might just try to get him in. There's a strike on the outside corner. Michael Tonkin and Perkins are the only relievers not to have been brought into a game yet. One and 1 to Moustakas. Escobar really good steal percentage. Success rate of over 80% in his career. So what we've had, what, 2 throwovers, a step off.
Yep. Yeah, Escobar in his career, 145 stolen bases, caught only 31 times. Good, blocked by Suzuki.
There's a pitch out of the dirt, 2-1. You have a running threat like Escobar. Take a look at Suzuki's play behind the plate. You have a threat, it changes things, and that was a breaking ball in the dirt. But Moustakas should realize he stands a better chance of getting a fastball with a speedy runner at first.
Well, one thing you don't want to do as a pitcher is try to hurry up because there's a quick guy at first base. Still make quality pitches home.
Down low, now 3-1. Kane on deck. As the Royals have gone to the World Series the last 2 years, they were perceived as being a speed team. Most of the speed was on the bench.
This might be a hit and run type situation.
Not close. And Escobar ends up at second base thanks to a free pass. Now Kane with 2 men on. Twins had runners on 2 of them at the top of this inning and didn't score, but now Presley's got a pitch to the 3 and 4 batters for the Royals. Trip to the mound with everybody involved in the infield. Might be the last man Presley faces, with left-hand hitting Hosmer in the on-deck circle and Abad warming up.
Well, he's facing a guy that has struck out 3 times already, too, so he's on a mission, Kane is, to make contact.
They're thrilled that Santana's no longer in the game. One. Fouled off of Suzuki, 1-1. 2 called third strikes, a swinging strike 3.
Slider right there. That was a pitch that gave Kane problems against Santana, that slider.
Urban Santana's out of the game, but Kurt Suzuki's still in it. He caught those sliders.
That curveball misses high.
2-1.
He's thrown a couple curveballs, and it was Escobar who hit that curveball in the left field. That one was up in the zone.
Big pitch here as the Royals have built a threat after the first out. Fouled away, 2-2.
Came back with another cutter, slider, same thing. Remember, Santana struck him out in his last at bat on a good fastball inside on a 3-2 pitch. I showed you on that pitch to pitch.
2-2 to Kane. Fouled on the right field line and chased by Sano, but it's back in the seats.
They tried to go fastball, it just left up.
I don't know that we've seen Presley, at least in this at bat. He hasn't been able to throw that breaking ball for a strike. That's a good pitch for him to get a called third strike.
That's straight over the top curveball. He's only thrown a couple, and both of them have been up. Or more to the slider.
Got him.
There's the curveball.
Kane's 4th strikeout tonight, 2 away.
And a big strikeout right there for Ryan Presley.
And with Hosmer, the left-handed batter, hitting next, Paul Molitor is going to make a pitching change.
Straight over the top, quick breaking ball.
So Presley faces 4 men, retires 2 of them. And Fernando Abad will come in to pitch to Hosmer with 2 on and 2 out here in the 7th inning.
Presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
The top of this inning, the Twins had runners at first and third, 2 outs, and they had their cleanup hitter Miguel Sano up, and he struck out. Same situation here, runners at first and second, but 2 out. And the Kansas City cleanup batter Eric Hosmer will face Fernando Abad.
Yeah, Abad a couple outings in against the Orioles in Baltimore, making his 3rd relief appearance. He has never faced Hosmer. Abad with a good fastball, curveball, and a changeup.
Inside, zipped him in off the plate. One and 0. And now 2-0.
That's the curveball right there. Fernando Abad, 30 years old, signed with the Twins as a free agent over the winter as a non-roster player, made it the club out of spring training. He's pitched for the Astros, the Nationals, and the Oakland A's. Oakland A's the last couple years.
Breaking ball over for a strike, a 2-0 curveball. Abad can throw in the low 90s, but he really can back things down into the 60s. This one,
big curveball. Good pitch. 2-0.
Box tracks presented by Carrier. 2-1. Missing inside, 3-1. Switch hitting Kendrys Morales on deck. Didn't draw a walk till there was 1 out in the 6th. Now they've drawn 3. Abad's in danger of walking Hosmer, and the base is full.
Yeah, Suzuki wants timeout. He got it.
The last 9 Kansas City batters have walked, and they are loaded up now for Kendrys Morales.
Well, when you fall behind 3-1, you didn't want to take a chance seeing if he'd throw that breaking ball over the fastball, and he just missed with a breaking ball. Morales has faced Abad only 1 time, and he flew out.
Twins are 1 for 8 with men in scoring position tonight. Royals 1 for 7. Breaking ball over, strike 1. Escobar with a 1-out single. Moustakas walked. Hosmer walked. 0-1 to Morales. Another ton, but it's strike 2.
Just a long strike.
Abad fell behind Hosmer early, ended up walking him, and now just the opposite situation here with Morales. Got the veteran behind in the count, 0-2.
See if he's close to the fastball or that hard breaking ball.
Got him on the outside corner, a 92-mile-per-hour fastball, and the Royals leave the bases full in the 7th. Clear evening here in Kansas City, and another close ball game with Fernando Abad striking out Kendrys Morales, leaving the bases full. Now on to the 8th, and Joaquin Soria pitching to Trevor Plouffe.
Yeah, Joaquin Soria back with the Royals, the organization that originally he came up to the big leagues with back in 2007, making his 3rd appearance.
Middle of strike. About 7-8 years ago, Soria was Greg Holland and Wade Davis, just without the supporting cast. He was really, really good for a bad team. And now he's back hoping to get some big outs late in games for a good team.
He had a couple seasons for the Royals where he saved over 40 games. All-Star when he was with the Royals in 2008 and 2010.
Breaking ball hit his spot, but Perez set up off the plate. It's 1-2.
Soria was a Rule 5 pickup by the Royals way back when in 2007.
2-2. Started last year with the Tigers. Traded to the Pirates. Two and 2 to the leadoff man here in the 8th. Park on deck, and then Escobar. 3, 10th strikeout of the night for the Twins. 1 away.
Let's take a little pitch by pitch by Fernando Abad against Morales. Big curveball for strike 1. And he went fastball, and Morales pulled foul. 0-2. Fastball, perfect spot, outer half of the plate. Morales took it for strike 3.
Mark is 0 for 2 with a walk. Up and in, ball 1. Soria used to be able to throw in the mid-90s. Can't do that anymore. Relying on better or good location rather than velocity. A high fly to left field. Gordon going back. This ball is tagged, and it is gone. A home run for Byung-Ho Park.
Boy, and with the wind blowing in, he hit that ball a long way. My goodness. Park with his first major league home run. And it comes at the good time. He got a breaking ball, looked like, and just hammered it.
He clobbered that ball well over the fence in left center.
I believe that went over the fountains. Measured at 417 feet.
Escobar fouls it off the mask of Perez. Ball 1. That was that slow breaking ball that we've seen Soria use, and when teams beat him, seems like it's usually on that pitch. Just off the outside corner. 1-1.
Good for Byung-Ho Park. Boy, he clobbered that right there.
1-2.
Get that first home run.
And a half swing. Escobar strikes out. 2 down. And that'll bring up Suzuki.
Let's take a look at the pitch right here that Park got that he liked. That breaking ball just kind of hung right there. I think it's more of a slider.
Yeah, that was a quicker breaking ball. We've seen him get burned in the past with that really slow breaking ball. That's an effective pitch as long as you keep it down.
Yeah, he's got so many pitches, though. Soria always has. That's what made him a great closer. 202 major league saves.
Suzuki takes a strike.
But you go through a couple Tommy John surgeries, you know. They credit him for keep wanting to come back. Last year with the Tigers and the Pirates.
1-1. And now 2-1. Kevin Jepson will get the 8th inning, and then Twins hope same opportunity for Glenn Perkins in the 9th. It is spot again with Perez setting in off the plate, but they didn't get the call. 3-1. Buxton on deck. Shouldn't call that a strike. It's right under the umpire's mask. That's to the right field corner. And a fair ball staying in the park and rattling around in the corner, and Suzuki's rounding second, trying for third. Infante's throw not in time, and Suzuki with a 2-out triple.
Yeah, Kurt Suzuki showing off his speed right there. Now, you don't need help from your coach at third, Gene Glenn, if you decide when you see where that ball was. Now, kind of caromed around Fuentes. By the time he got to it, you can see he heads to the corner. Now he's got to retreat. And that ball bouncing around. And I'm going to guess, okay, double. But then he right there, he says, you know what, I can make it over to third. And the throw from Infante kind of rolled to Moustakas. So it's a triple, first triple of the year for the Twins, and it goes to Kurt Suzuki. Who would have thought?
Soria started Buxton with a breaking ball and a called strike 1. And now a fastball, strike 2. Buxton struck out twice and lined out to left. Fastball at 94. He did get it up to the mid-90s. Buxton got a piece. Looking for another big 2-out hit, this time from the rookie center fielder.
There's that big slow curveball.
Yep, 70 miles per hour, and it locks up Buxton. But a couple of extra base hits, including Byung-Ho Park's first major league home run, and the Twins are in front.
I wouldn't say I'm worried, but there are a couple of things that definitely I'm concerned about. One, culture. It's very different. I'm learning every day. I have to learn the culture to be able to, communicate right. Second, and very importantly, I have to learn the pitchers here. I haven't seen them, I haven't faced them. Soon I will, and I'm ready to face them and learn.
J.D. Kim, the translator for Byung-Ho Park. And his home run, his first big league home run, put the Twins in front 3-2.
You see the breaking ball from Soria. I think it's just a cutter slider. Good extension by Park. And a 417-foot home run gives the Twins a 3-2 lead.
Defensive changes for the Twins. Tony Leo, the trainer, sitting to now Park's left. Neil Allen, of course, the pitching coach. Defensively for the Twins, Danny Santana's moved to right field, and Eddie Rosario is in left. Miguel Sano out of the ball game, and Kevin Jepsen in the game to pitch to Alex Gordon. Down and in, Jepsen took the loss on opening night. Was erratic with his control, not in terms of walking people, but he was leaving pitches up and eventually paid the price for it.
It was Wieters that got the game-winning hit in that 3-2 opening day loss that the Twins had.
Driven to right, and Santana is able to cut it off and hold Gordon to a single.
Well, another fastball that was left up right there by Jepsen. And Gordon picks up his first hit.
Rosario, as we said, is in left. And Salvador Perez, the batter. Single and a run scored in the second, a strikeout and a foul out. High, ball one. A whole lot of experience with Kansas City hitters facing Jepsen. That's a bit surprising. He's been around for a while. Was a key reliever for the Twins in the second half last year.
7 years with the Angels, 1 with the Rays, or half a year before he came over.
That's to the gap in left center field. Rosario can't get it. It runs all the way to the wall. Gordon rounds second. On his way to third, they're going to wave him around. Perez to third base, and the throw by him towards the Twins dugout, and it'll be an RBI triple for Salvador Perez, and just like that, we're tied. The Twins catcher got a triple in the top of this inning, and that didn't matter, but the Kansas City catcher gets a big RBI triple to even the score at 3.
Looked like he had a fastball in, fought it off, and hit a line drive. Rosario in left field dove for it. That got by him. And Gordon scores from first base as an RBI triple. Perez picks up his second hit of the ball game on his first RBI of the year.
And now the Twins have to bring the infield in here in the bottom of the 8th for Infante. Big block by Suzuki. That ball landed 4 feet in front of the plate. Kevin Jepsen getting hit very hard in the opening week of the season. Gordon stroked a solid single to right. And Perez followed with a rocket past a diving Rosario in left. Back 1-1.
You can see every fastball that Kevin is right now, he's just up in the strike zone. And he's never really had a lot of movement on that fastball, so it's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's pretty straight. But he needs to keep the ball down if he can.
Breaking ball missing. A better breaking ball than the first pitch of the at-bat. Jepsen last year with the Twins, 28 innings, 25 strikeouts, so just under a strikeout per inning pitch. Pitching to the number 8 batter here. Could use a strikeout. Pop up. Comebacker. And Infante chases. A letter-high fastball, 2-2.
Yeah, Infante, a veteran of 15 seasons at the major league level, first with the Tigers back in 2002.
Davis warming up in the event the Royals take the lead. Three and two. Fuentes on deck. To left center field and deep enough to score Perez. Buxton with a catch. And the Royals are back in front.
Well, Infante did his job, got the sacrifice fly and scored Perez. So as the Royals did in the second inning after Twins took a 1-0 lead, they came right back with 2. Twins took a 3-2 lead. They came right back here in the 8th inning to take a 4-3 lead.
Impressive to do that in April, but the Royals have done that in each of the last 2 Octobers, so we should not be surprised. Here is Fuentes with the bases empty and 1 out. Side of ball. Fuentes drove in the first 2 Kansas City runs with a single in the second.
Jepson just rushing a little bit, and when your lower part of your body rushes, that arm has a tough time catching up, and by the time it does, a lot of pitches left up. Stay back a little bit longer and create that type of plane, even though that ball like it hit the plate.
Last year, Jepson for the Twins pitched 28 innings, only gave up 18 hits. He's given up 4 hits in 1 inning. 2 appearances.
We always talk, I mean, he's a hard thrower. You create that downward plane. Right now, that plane's pretty level.
Fouled away, 2-2. Got the first 2 outs and then issued a walk in the 9th inning in Baltimore on Monday, and then a couple of hits followed, including the Wieters game winner. Davis might have pitched the 9th inning regardless, even if it were a tie game. Certainly will come into the ball game now. The Twins will have the top of their lineup lined up to face him. Strike 3. The Karam runs up the line, and Suzuki throws him out. 2 down.
Let's go back after Alex Gordon got a base hit to get the inning going. That fastball left in. Perez opened up nicely. Rosario tried to catch it in the air. It got by him. Gordon scores the tying run. And Perez hustling all the way around. He's watching it right there. Once that ball got past Rosario, just like we saw Suzuki, it's up to him to determine whether he can make it to third or not. And he does.
And his taking the extra base led to the go-ahead run because Infante hit the fly ball to score him in the next bat. Strike over the inside corner. Well, the Twins scored a run and actually got a big hit in the 6th against the Kansas City bullpen, then scored the run in the 8th on the Park home run. Chopper to third. Loof fires across, and Mauer kept a foot on the bag or tagged Escobar. At any rate, the inning ends, but the Royals score twice and take a lead into the 9th. Salvador Perez with a triple to tie the game, and then he scored on a fly ball off the bat of Infante. And the Royals again with a late inning lead, and Wade Davis will try to nail it down.
Well, Wade Davis already has one save on the year.
Dozier, Santana, and Mauer will hit, and Dozier and Mauer have had pretty good success against Davis. Dozier 4 for 11 with 3 walks against Davis. Trying to get a board here for Santana. To the inside corner. Remember, if the Twins get somebody on base, Sano is out of the game. Eddie Rosario is lined up to hit 4th this inning. Popped up back over our heads.
A lot of things over our heads.
0-2. Dozier 4 for 11, a double, 3 walks, just 2 strikeouts against Davis, but now he's in an 0-2 hole.
Perez sitting inside. Got a little cutter inside and missed. Tried it again.
2-2. Earlier we talked about Hochevar, a failed starter for the Royals, and now a key part of their bullpen. Exhibit A for that is this guy. And the Royals got him, put him in the rotation. He was 8-11 with an ERA of 5.32. Dozier lifts a pop-up near the Kansas City dugout and out of play. Since moving him to the bullpen, he has been just about unhittable.
Yeah, he really has. You know, he came over with James Shields from the Tampa Bay Rays, and they thought they got 2 starters in Shields and Davis, but it did not pan out. They put him in the bullpen, and he has been lights out.
They're hanging tough, trying to get a board here in the 9th. Another foul, a 95-mile-per-hour fastball down around the outside corner.
Well, Davis doesn't throw many changeups. It's that fastball in the mid-90s, the cutter, and then the curveball.
Dozier fought off a really tough pitch right there.
I think that was a curveball right there. See the drop on that ball. Brian fouling it off.
Counting his outing earlier this year, since moving to the Kansas City bullpen 2 and a fraction years, he's pitched just over 140 innings and allowed 3 home runs. 3.
That's good.
9th pitch of the opening at bat coming up to Brian Dozier. Another foul ball.
Well, last thing he wants to do right here is walk Brian Dozier. So that was a high fastball. Brian fouled it off. Good at bat so far for Dozier. This will be the 10th pitch in this at bat.
It's been a good night for Brian already with 2 hits and a walk.
He's been on 3 times. Yeah.
Ball 4. And a great plate appearance for Dozier to start the 9th. That'll bring up Danny Santana.
Yeah, it looked like the little cutter that he wanted down and away, and it was down and away out of the strike zone.
Dozier's aboard. Of course, he runs pretty well. The other night, the Twins pinch ran Santana for Dozier, but Santana tonight hitting behind Brian. 0 for 4, a strikeout, and 3 ground balls. Moustakas well in on the grass at third base. And a fake bunt and a pitch in the dirt. Santana didn't offer at it. That's ball 1.
Well, right at the last second, squaring around, ball in the dirt. Perez knocks it down. You got Moustakas about 60 feet away. He's going to come boring in on him. Hosmer, of course, has to hold on Dozier. Bunted down that first baseline.
Dozier flies back to the bag.
That's a throw over to see if Santana maybe committed early to show if he's bunting again.
Talked about Santana probably being the best bunter on the team. Sometimes it's important to not bunt when you see a breaking ball like the one he just saw. And now he takes another pitch low. How many times you see it? Somebody is up there with bunt on their mind, and they'll jab at any pitch anywhere near the strike zone. Here Santana has taken 2 pitches in a bunting situation.
Well, if he's given a bunt, I like what he's doing. He's waiting until the last second till Davis almost releases that ball to show he's going to square around. So that's going to keep Moustakas back a little bit. Sometimes if you square around early, that infielder will come rushing in.
He takes a strike, 2-1. Right, with Moustakas crashing in at third base, if it's bunted in that direction, it's going to have to be an awfully good bunt.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If he bunts the ball, try to bunt it down that first baseline, he might beat it out like he did in Baltimore.
Right. 2-1. There goes Dozier, and a pitch down and in, and Dozier has a steal of second base, and the count to Santana now 3-1. And now the ball rolling free past the mound, but straight to Perez. Dozier feinted toward third base.
Big stolen base right there for Brian, his first of the year. Got a great jump. Look at him take off. I mean, Davis had not released the ball when Brian took off. Diving in head first safely in the second.
Now big at bat here for Santana. Love to at least get Dozier up another 90 feet. 3-1.
See if he continues to bunt here.
Bunted foul to the screen. You got to pitch up and popped it straight back.
Now Gene Glenn looking in to the bench. Do they keep the bunt on, or does they swing away? Davis, a strikeout pitcher.
And chipped foul.
Mentioned since Davis put into that bullpen 140
and a fraction
40 innings. He's got 187 strikeouts.
3-2 to Santana. And another foul. Well, it started with Dozier, didn't it? He fouled off a bunch of pitches, and on a 3-2 count he finally drew a walk. Santana, a much tougher guy to walk. Mauer, of course, on deck.
Good battle by Dozier. Good battle by Santana so far against a very, very good closer.
And there's a breaking ball in the dirt for a strikeout.
He got the curveball over. And Santana did not have a good swing at that. And Davis picks up a strikeout.
13th strikeout tonight for Twins batters.
It took him 18 pitches to get an out. Well, Davis gets an out. See the ball skipping off home plate, and Perez again. Knocks it down and then tags out Santana.
Mauer 6 for 16 with 4 walks, 3 doubles against Davis. And 375 against him. Mauer's drawn 3 walks tonight. It's the 4th game of the season, so not anything to get too excited about, but Mauer's on base plus slugging right now is over 1,000. Thanks to the walks and the home run. Here, a single to the outfield should tie the game. Up and away.
That's a good thing. We don't want you to get too excited.
Twins do have a runner at second, so that means Rosario very likely will have a chance here in the top of the 9th instead of Sano. On the outside corner.
Well, again, with the shift of Kane and Gordon in center and left, Davis just pitching them away. Basically, it's the old pitch away and play away.
One to Mauer. Getting inside and got a swinging strike 2.
It's that curveball, that hard curveball. Same curveball that struck out Santana.
One and 2. Back to the glove of Davis, and now they've got Dozier on a rundown. Dozier trying to stay in the rundown. He's safe, but now Mauer standing at second base. And finally, he is tagged out. So Dozier did a wonderful job in a rundown, staying in it long enough to get Mauer into scoring position after he left early. And now an injury.
Like Escobar maybe twisted an ankle or something. They slipped trying to tag out Dozier. Take a look right here. Davis, ball hit right back to him right away. Usually you're taught to run at the runner, but Dozier was going directly to third.
I wonder if he didn't step on Dozier. Turn an ankle.
I believe he just slipped. Take a look right here. Watch, he misses the tag and then tries to come back. He may have made contact with Bryant.
Of course, had Dozier run back to second base, and both he and Mauer were standing there, the scoring goes 1-5, 6-4, 6. Dozier would have been the runner and not Mauer. Just a cramp. So Mauer's retired, and it'll be Rosario. Last hope for the Twins here to tie the game. Rosario entered the game defensively when the Twins took Sano out. Nunez will replace Mauer as a runner at second base. Rosario 0 for 1 in his lone matchup against Wade Davis.
Crossed him up.
Yes. Perez and the Royals lucky that that ball stayed in the dirt area.
Perez might have been looking breaking ball right here. It's a fastball.
See the way he turned his glove around. Yep. He was waiting for that ball to dive down in the dirt and catch the bounce. Got him right on the inside of the left forearm, it looked like.
Another look right here. Oh boy,
inside of the wrist.
Left wrist, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this strategically now. The Twins had Dozier at second base, so this runner at second base, let's change our signals or whatever. It's a different runner at second base. Would they have changed second sign, first sign, third sign, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, with a runner at second base, Norm, no, you don't change your sign. There's a mix-up somewhere. You'll go through more than one sign. A lot of times pitchers will use, give me the first sign after 2 with a runner on. That's what I did. Keep it simple.
So the sign sequence should have been the same, even though it was a different runner at second base. Okay. And Perez says, hey, that's my bad.
That's the last thing the Royals need is an injury to that man right there. He has been so durable.
So 1-0 is the count to Rosario.
You saw him go out to talk to Davis. He probably told him what he wants to throw here.
Rosario, a free swinger, but he's also had a flair for the dramatic from the very first pitch he saw in the big league.
Yeah, I'm surprised the outfield too, very shallow. Is Kane and Gordon. Fuente's playing back a little bit and right.
The no doubles defense. The Royals are in the no singles defense. Breaking ball, strike 2.
There's a curveball. Cutter was a previous pitch, and then the curveball. Boy, and he has a tight curveball too. I remember when he was with the Rays, he had a big curveball that broke almost like Soria's slow curveball, but he's really tightened it up like that.
And a strikeout, 14th of the night for the Twins. 4 games into the season, they have 2 2-run losses and 2 1-run losses.
Well, it just has not gone the Twins' way yet, and hopefully it'll start tomorrow. But this, again, another well-played game by both teams. It's just that the Royals came ahead as the Orioles did against the Twins.
Now for what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Tommy Malone finally got the Twins into the win column in Game 4 last year. He'll pitch Game 5 against Ian Kennedy in his first year with the Kansas City Royals. Twins had the lead. Royals had a couple of leads. Tom Hanneman in the end, the Royals, due to the Twins tonight, what they've done to so many over the last couple of years, they've won the game close late in the opening game of this series.